sales data, nice set of dashboards for sales, procurement, manufacturing, finance. I'll move this little icon here somewhere. Warehousing, inventory control, marketing, logistics, HR. I could add CRM out here or anything else that you don't see here that is pertinent to the way you run your business. We can put it there and have very nice dashboards working for you. Now I'm going to take a look here in customer service at this backlog of open customer orders. And in my data set here, test data, we're simulating as if it's the first day of August here in 2017. And here's my new orders going into the future. And this is by currency value. And notice I have some other orders here that are open in past months. That's a trailing past due backlog is really what that is. And it's reddish colored because it means we've got to clean that up. Here on the right-hand side, clean it up as in ship these products to our customers. On the right-hand side, it's the same type of data on a timeline, and it's by quantity. So in order to make this quantity most valid, I would set a filter here in my filter groups on a product category. And by having a common product category, now I've got a fairly decent high-level production plan. Here's how many of product category 1 I need to produce and ship for each one of these months. And of course, here's my backlog of open orders I got to get cleaned up as well. So I scroll down here. You can see I have, in this case, 5 manufacturing plants in this data set. So here's their backlog of open orders for each one of these plants. I can easily drill in on a plant here just by clicking on this bar, and all of my data is reflective now of my Florida plant. I'll be shipping to the United Kingdom and to the USA. I'm going to scroll back to the top just to show you this timeline again. These open orders, both past due and future, they are for this Florida plant. So everything's reflecting what the Florida plant has on order right now from their customer. Here's their top 5 customers. I could easily make that the top 10 customers by just changing the data set here, or I could sort the data differently in ascending order and show you the bottom 10 customers for that matter. This particular product category I have filtered. That's why you see one product category here with a open quantity on the right and the value on the left, 2 axes here, 2 vertical axes. There are 2 product lines in my product structure that make up that product category, and within these product lines are these finished good parts. So I can see my demand at every level of detail that's necessary in order to understand it. I can also see it based on the sales order lines that have the orders booked. So all of my open order bookings here, I can see it in many different ways in order to analyze my demand. At the bottom here, I have a button that shows me the raw data that's extracted from the ERP system and driving these charts. So I can easily drop that into Excel and even do more pivot tables if that's what I prefer to do with this data set. Coming back to my home page, you see I have the sales area. So I'm going to go into the sales area, and you'll see here, once again, we have a lot of dashboards. And while I'm waiting for that one to come, I'll just open this particular one I have here. So on a timeline, I'm showing my sales on this reddish colored line month by month. And as I hover over it, I can see the actual value. And I see there's a threshold value there as well, or a budget. There's my budget or my goal, and then there's my actual. And anytime I break budget, so to speak, I can have it set to send me an alert, an email, or a text that I missed my budget and I need to do something about that. Here's my 5 plants on a tree map, or some people call it even a heat map, and what I've shipped so far year to date in my test data. And here's the same information on a geo map, so by country where I've shipped my products. So when you hover over it, you can see the year-to-date amount. Here's my top 5 customers on a pie chart, or if you want it by the regular data, you can click an icon here at the bottom, or you can see it as a bar chart or a line chart, area chart, whatever makes sense to you for looking at your data. And I could also show my top 10 or 15, 20 customers as well. Here's the product categories that I'm shipping. There's an area chart. I'm going to change it to a column, vertical column chart here to see. Here's what I ship for PCO2. It's my biggest shipper, then O1, then O3. There's the product lines that are within those product categories, and then the finished good items here on this donut chart. So I'm going to change it into a Pareto analysis here. Number 7, good 07, is my top shipper for this time period. And here's my sales order lines that I have shipped and the value of each one. Once again, I have the raw data at the bottom. I also have an icon here that I can open up and leave a chat message for any of my colleagues who are shared on this page, and they can type messages and send back to me. We don't have to go to email. We can just collaborate right here if we need to. I also will show you some purchasing information in the purchasing category. Here's how much money I'm spending on this timeline, month by month. As I hover over, you can see the amount of each month. I can also change the time bucket to a year, and then I get my total amount right here for the year to date at 854,000. So I scroll down, I have these 3 locations that are doing this buying or this purchasing and the amount they've purchased each one of them year to date. Here's my top 5 suppliers in a pie chart, or I could put that in a column chart as a Pareto type chart. Supplier number 32 being my most spend. I scroll down, here's the product categories of the products that I'm buying and the product lines. And then here's my products on a donut chart. Can we sort it by salesperson? Well, let me see if I got salesperson in my, filter it by salesperson. We could if I had salesperson in my filters. I don't have in my test data. For plenty of our clients, we have sales rep is what we call them, linked to the orders, and we could filter by that. I even might have I'm in purchasing now, so it would be by buyer for this one, but for sales, I could go back and see if I got a sales rep. Let me come back here for a minute. Did I have sales rep on this? I know we've got it on some of them, and I don't see it here. I don't have it here. Let's see if I got a filter. Sales rep, there we go. So sales by, said sales rep, Alberta SP. These look like locations, but it's our test data. Maybe that's the name they got them. So I'll pick Minnesota, apply my filter, and there's my sales data by that sales representative. Okay, and nothing by a particular plant. That sales rep is selling in North America here or in the United States. And I'll scroll on down. There's the top 5 customers for that sales rep, and the product categories are selling, all 3 product categories, these lines, and these 5 part numbers. In this case, Good 07 is their number 1 seller. There's our order lines. Coming back to purchasing spend, I even have the purchase order line numbers of what I spent my money on. I find this to be very helpful in solving a problem with a vendor. If I can get all the way down to the PO line number, and it helps me get the details that they might need. We also have information in manufacturing, like daily production. These would be work orders that have been planned and then produced for each one of these weeks. So you can compare plan to actual. You can see it by manufacturing plant. You can drill in on any plant and get the corresponding data that goes with that plant. For example, they just have 1 week's worth of production data in my test data, and they have these 2 shop floor areas outlined for production, and these 3 machines and these operations. So you get a lot of detail about your shop floor operations with this type of a dashboard. Even the people that are running the machines here, we have hours being tracked on them. And the products that we produce, as in category, product line, and products. Let me see if and then in this case, we have our jobs connected to our customer sales orders, so I can even see my production plan and actual by customer.
Can you assign access rights so that certain people can see certain things and others cannot?
Yes, we can. We can set security at very low levels of detail, and we do it all the time. For example, in sales, we've had clients that have 40 salespeople in the field, and each person can only see the region that they're assigned to.
You can decide on what kind of permissions can be given to whom and what they can visualize.
Okay, good.
So here in warehousing, we have inventory adjustments typically made through cycle counting process. Inventory moves, so if you're tracking the efficiency of the movement of material on your warehouse floor, what's on hand, everybody needs by quantity, and what's on hand by currency value. Utilization is an output of the space that's being consumed and how it's being consumed, and then the aging of inventory. So I'll show you on hand quantities here. On this top left chart here, you see we have these 5 different warehouses being represented. So I can drill in on one, and here for Alberta warehouse, here's locations within that warehouse and materials that they have stored there. And here's bins in that warehouse and the types of inventory they have, the product category, product line, and final products that they have stored there. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple more things here. On the left-hand side of this menu, I can easily create a dashboard. Well, first I'll show you, if you hover here, you get a view button and an edit button. So each one of these dashboards can be edited, or they can be cloned and you can edit the clone. And it's all menu-driven, drop down, just check boxes, things like that. On the create a dashboard, I'll just show you how easy it is to make a new dashboard as a starting point. You say get your data. I have a data set here, and I get my data, which gives me several views to select from. So I'm going to take my shipments view, and in that view I get several dimensions. I'm just going to pick all of them. You can see there's a lot of dimensions there, and I'm just going to pick one metric so it stays a little bit more simplified. I'll take shipment value, click create, and I'll get a chart for each one of those dimensions that I selected. Then I can start editing these to get it dialed into exactly how I want it to display. I can edit a chart right here by clicking the little pencil and following the menu-driven items, or I have these global settings up here that I can click and make adjustments to every chart on the dashboard at the same time. So very easy to build a new dashboard. We also have a report builder, and you can create a basic tabular report just as easy as you can make a dashboard. So I have a nice data set selected here. I'll just say get the data, and I will check all of my dimensions. In this case, I know this is financial data, and I'll pick the posted amount. When I click create, it builds this tabular report of my GL data here. If I don't see what I want there, I can easily drop it into Excel, do some more pivots, whatever I might want to do. And there's several more forms that I can create with this particular report writer right here. So with that, do you have any further questions before I turn back over to John?
You mentioned having everything put together in one place. So it would be nice if, does your system allow you to point to other things? In other words, if I wanted to see a picture of it, or if I wanted to see a MSDS of the item, or can we link to several things?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can point to any of those databases you described, pull it all together into our central locator, and see it displayed any way you want to see it. That's one of the specialties of our solution, is we bring data from any source together for you.
Perfect. Now that's what we're looking for, trying to get everything together in one place.
That way you can keep all of the systems you have, but still get your data consolidated. Saves you money.